Hello, and welcome to another episode of In My Experience with yours truly, Christine DeGinto. This podcast is a space where I speak from lived experience. The moments that shaped me, challenged me, and changed the way that I understand myself in the world. The awakenings, the breakdowns, the moments that cracked me open, asked me to stay present, be embodied, and be honest with myself. I share my stories not to persuade or define truth for anyone else, but to offer perspective, to explore the gray areas we don't often have language for, to slow things down and listen more closely to what's happening beneath the surface. You'll hear solo episodes where I reflect on my own initiations, spiritual gifts, and the systems that tried to define me. And conversations with guests who have walked strange, beautiful, and sometimes painful paths of their own and come back with wisdom to share with us. I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own experience as valid. Thank you for being here. This is In My Experience. Well, we made it. We made it home safely. Our first voyage is complete. Now we need to tighten some things up, make a few changes, and get moving into our new life. Very happy with the decision, though I do feel like I jumped off of a cliff, and I'm just now realizing that I don't know how deep the water is. So that bearing in mind that sensation in my body, I'm trying my best to relax into it, to ask the universe to reflect back to me that I made the right decision or which direction I should go, etc., etc. It keeps just being reinforced. Natural building. We had an amazing time traveling through Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Virginia, and God damn, do I love being called ma'am in a southern accent. I now know this. So that's just a note for all of you in case you were wondering. Our cats are making noise in the background. I hope that doesn't offend you. Speaking of background noise, when I was recording this, I was not in my normal office at home where I am now, but I was in my new office at my camper home where I was then. And my daughter had the TV on in the background, and I was assuming that it would not be as loud as it was for me. I was wrong about that. So at some points you may hear extra background noise, the television. That'll never happen again. At least, I hope not. Well, while I was away, I was still able to sneak in 2 recordings with Eagle Skyfire, and then next week's episode, you'll hear from Jeremy Silva, aka Stilo Free. We had awesome conversations, and I'm very excited to share them with you. I have a few updates that I want to get together, but I'm just not quite ready to lay it all out and talk about it. I'll be working on that. But I did want to go ahead and share this episode. I'm sorry it's a little bit late. Just as you can make plans and God will laugh. So I was planning to be gone for a week and return, and it was logistically, it all made sense. Like, I didn't have a day where there was more than 5 hours of driving, and even then, planned stops along the way. But no, I underestimated myself in many ways. I underestimated how tired I might be, how fun it was, and how, realizing that there is actually no reason why I have to go back right now, and I could stay another day somewhere, and I can spend more time in this space, and I can have another night where I do stargazing and see the beautiful moon and beautiful sunrise. And yeah, so we took it extra slow, and I also want to say I underestimated myself in good ways as well. My ability to
drive and handle the logistics, making sure that we had everything we needed. In addition to what myself and my daughter need, we also decided to take on two kittens. And that was amazing. I love it. I have zero regrets. But it wasn't easy, having two little kittens in the back of the truck, making sure they're eating and going to the bathroom and drinking. And what are they doing back there, Grace? And she was really great about watching them. She was such a great co-pilot to have with me as well, and she even got out of the truck at some points to help me try to back up and navigate, and we were really good about communicating, staying safe, and how she always needed to be visible. I also wanted to say there was a one point we pulled into a harvest house in Virginia, Natural Bridge, Virginia. It was beautiful, and they had a beautiful barn with green seamless leaf filter gutters. Beautiful, top of the line. And guess what I did? I did not swing wide enough, and I hit their gutter. So guess what else I did? Paid for that shit. So I'm learning, I'm doing my best, but it was actually hilarious when um when it happened. Obviously it made a noise and I stopped. I put it in reverse and I got out of it, and then I, fixed the way that I was swinging and got out of that, but the damage was done instantaneously. And Grace's reaction, she said, "Oh, hun." It was just, I was like, "What was that?" She looked back. I was like, "Oh no, I hit that." She goes, "Oh, hon." It was great. It was truly great. Um, I had a wonderful time with her and with our new cats, Blinks and Tigger, as you'll meet coming up in the episode with Eagle Skyfire. I also wanted to share all of Eagle Skyfire's links will be in the show notes, and please check out her women's retreat that's coming up in Virginia in the next couple of months, and as well as her hypnotherapy and other offerings that she shares. If you, again, I know I mentioned this while we were recording, but if you have not yet heard the episodes where I shared readings from Eagle Skyfire back in 2021, I advise you listen to them. They're great. And as you get to know me more and my story, you would understand how accurate and helpful her guidance has been. Without further ado, let's get into the episode with Eagle Skyfire, and I'll catch you at the end. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have Eagle Skyfire with us, and we'll be chatting about things going on recently and some new changes in her path and journey, some offerings that she has going on. And if you did not catch the previous episodes where I shared recordings of real readings that she did for me in 2021, go back in previous episodes, check those out, listen into them, because I'll say now, in reflection, having listened to them again recently, and I've done it before in past years, almost every year, I re listen to readings because things come through that you just did not. You weren't able to see or hear, it didn't click in before. If you listen again, it'll make sense. So that's what I like to do, like homework. And I've seen so many things come through from those readings in recent times coming into manifest into my reality. I just had to say thank you so much for your guidance and your wisdom, and I appreciate you very much. Welcome, Eagle Skyfire. Thank you for being here. Take it away.
Oh, no. And again, I say I love your show and I love how you're sharing your experiences and really just inviting everyone to really not only to share your experiences, but really encouraging them to have their own.
Mhm.
And it's been my pleasure to walk by your side through these years. And as a Native American seer and tradition keeper, it's true of all of us where we think we understand, but we have that perspective. And then as you go forward a period of time, you grow, you evolve. And then when you look back, you have a different perspective that makes you truly understand further what was said initially. And that's true of all
Yes.
of us.
Yes, absolutely. You never know what you don't know. So
That's
until
half
you
the
learn.
fun.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that really stood out to me about right now, and I also want to recognize I'm not in my normal set area. I'm currently in a camper that I just bought this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to expanding, traveling, learning, connecting
Mm.
with lots of people, working in lots of different ways, and just living life. So I don't know how to back up yet, but
You get there.
yeah, we'll get there. And I'll tell you what, the first day that we got it, we drove up 3 hours, I believe. And that was okay. We made it. And I did need help 2 times. I
Mm.
got myself into a little pickle with the GPS. It just like ended on a dead end road. And then I
Oh
was
no.
forced to have to back up. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. I looked around. I stopped. I was real calm, by the way. I was like,
That's
I
good.
know that I'm not going to be able to do this. I just can't do it right now. Looked around. There's a guy. He's got all this horse stuff. I'm like, well, if he's got horses, I'm sure he knows how to drive a
Oh
trailer.
yes.
So I started walking up the driveway. He was already coming down, and he helped me out. So I really appreciate that. He wouldn't even take money.
But isn't that a bit of like a metaphor for life that, you're on the trail, you sometimes never know the unexpected, but you didn't dread it. And if anything, you were open and there was somebody of a kind heart that reflected back and helped you. So I think it's kind of like a bigger metaphor for life itself. There are times that it's
Absolutely.
okay to say, I need help, and then allowing yourself to receive help from somebody with a kind heart.
Absolutely. And luckily, in my case, it, every time I need it, I receive it. I feel so grateful for that. So, and I love to see it reflected in those moments too. It's really special. It makes my heart feel 10 times bigger when people are kind and help out. And I like to do the same for others whenever possible. So,
Well, that's the whole idea that, what you do comes back to you. So again, with that, you do things with a kind heart and you're not looking for anything and it gets returned back to you especially when
yes.
you need it.
Yes, yes, yes. Such a blessing. I also was connecting with spirit a great deal the night before. I was sitting outside
Mm.
and I was just seeing a lot of movement. You know what that's
Oh,
like.
yes.
Lots of movement. And I was like, wow, spirit is with me. And then I said, I was feeling very nervous. And then I'm like, please, please be with me. Please protect me. Please help me. I'm scared. I'm nervous because this is a big deal. I put basically all my money into it.
Hmm.
Like I've got no second plan. This is it.
Hmm. It's all part of the learning curve. You'll do just fine.
Yes. Yes. So far, anytime I've had to do anything hard and I didn't know what I was doing, I just tried my best and was successful. So I trust that it'll happen again every time I need it to.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. But that's true. But what I found is that, and that could be helpful, especially for now. These are such, uh, I'm going to say, crazy times. I'll just politely put it crazy, no matter where you believe or where you stand. I think we can all agree these are very unexpected times. And how you approach them, as I like to share with people, you can't control, again, sometimes what the road will bring you, but you always have the power to choose, will it make me better or better? And the ability of, I experience this, but you choose if you allow for it to define you. So as I like to help people, some people have been through trauma, and I sometimes have people who are working their way through PTSD that'll work side by side with their therapist. And you can't control that. That's a physical thing that happens, but you can decide if you want that to define you, which you don't. You choose what defines you and to what degree always. You know how to move
yes.
through it and what defines you. And again, that's why, again, positive attitude and, hey, I'm going to learn. And this is why you're always going to be coming out, I'm going to say, on the good side of the river, because again, you give it, you believe it, it reflects back. And that's true of all of us. That's the way that it
Yes.
works.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And a little bit before we pressed record, we were talking about what's been going on. And you mentioned that you wanted to talk a little bit in general for everyone about finding their purpose.
Hmm.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
I will. I will. So I just want to say to everybody, I'm a sacred timekeeper, and I write something that's called the flow of the river. And this is the karmic undercurrent that moves us all. So we have the great river that's moving us all as a global family, and we each have our own karmic rivers, if you will, that moves and influence each one of us. And this year, and by the way, Native American New Year's on winter solstice for my people. So winter solstice to winter solstice. We are calling this year the year of revolutions and revelations in that order. And I don't
Wow.
think you have to be a genius to figure out why, but this is what the spirits usually they talk to me at least a year in advance and they show me. So this is a time where we've chosen as a global family what I'm going to call a hard reset. And we are being given the opportunity to walk our purpose and give the best of our humanity, of our spirit. So for purpose, a lot of times people feel like purpose has to be something grand, like, with Gandhi or Mandela or something like this. No, it could be very well, look what your passion is. Maybe your passion is animals. Maybe
Hmm.
it's the elderly. Maybe it's, again, feeding people. And in this tradition, if you follow what you're led to, and again, my saying is if we all give a little, then we all have a lot.
Absolutely.
Then we have everything covered. So when people say, I'm looking for my purpose to give it meaning, look at what you value. Do you value freedom? Do you value justice? What is it that you value? And then it has to bring joy. And then joy has many expressions. It can be contentment, fulfillment, satisfaction. You get the idea. Happiness is included. But once you figure out what you value and then what matters to you. So I always teach the difference between what's important versus what matters. So let me give you an example. It's important to be timely with paying your bills. But what matters are things are like family and loving our earth mother.
Hmm.
So when you're living your life purpose, it is a factor of what are you willing to live for? What do you value? Then combine it with the gifts and the skills, or you want to call them abilities, that you enjoy doing. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad at it. People get so hung up because we live in such an edited society. Everything has been edited to perfection, which is absolute nonsense. Being organic is the best.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
once you begin to share that with people, you're going to find that there is such a deep joy and satisfaction because you are helping to share what you value. And when you focus on that one thing, and we can do more than one thing, but the society we spread ourselves out to, then you're going to find it reflects back to you. It reflects
Hmm.
back to you. So that's what I wanted to share with the life purpose. So I can go further if you like, but that's really the gist of it is what you value plus combining it with a skill or ability that you want to grow and that will give you
Yes.
joy, will blaze that path, will give you such clarity.
Yes. Yes. And I love the way that you said you don't even have to worry about being good at it because you'll get good at it. Because anything that you care about and try for and are meant to do, and are filled with love and hope and gratitude when you're connected with it,
Yeah.
you will be successful.
Yeah. And also too, that the why, that's why what you value, that the why is stronger than your excuses. Because let's face it, there are times I know about with you, but there are times that I just sit there and I go, oh, why am I doing this? I think we all do. We could just like, what was I thinking? But your love for what you do, that ability can overcome those temporary, I'm going to say speed bumps or those moments where there could be self-doubt. There's that drive that begins to take you.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. And the repeated reminders. It's almost like your life will get derailed for you if you don't pick up the tracks fast enough. If you
Mm.
don't get on the track that is laid out for you, the universe will start to take things apart until it's easier for you to see which direction you're supposed to go. And that's a nice way to put it.
Mm. It's very PC.
Yes, yes. Very interesting reflections. And I'm so thankful also. I think this was in, well, 2021, but before I had talked with you and met you, I worked with a medium named Lisa Miller, and she also recently booked. So in a couple weeks, I'll be talking with
Oh,
her.
that's lovely.
She basically helped me to understand that my daughter is a medium.
Hmm.
I knew we were dealing with issues from spirit. I knew it was something that I didn't understand and that other people did. And so I was like, I gotta reach out to this medium. When my daughter was about 2 years old, she described to me about a spirit that would come to her. And we talked a little bit more about this spirit in particular. And she told me that two men chased him and they beat him and stabbed
Hmm.
him and they hung him from a rope and put a cloth on his face and hung him from a tree.
Hmm.
And, for she's two and
Right.
described a lynching to me, which
Yes.
how would she ever know,
Correct.
So
Something as brutal as that.
yeah, absolutely. And she was afraid of him because he was
Sure.
scary looking, he was, and I believe he may have been a runaway slave or something along those lines. He was emaciated. He was basically wearing like a potato sack, he was scary looking.
Sure.
Also, he probably still had some of the injuries because he was in that frequency stuck. So obviously I reach out to a medium because I'm like, this is something I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I reach out to her and she described the same thing. And I didn't tell her that. But when she said that, I'm like, okay, so Grace can see and she could see. This is amazing. And other times I would have gone to mediums. And I think the first time I ever did, I sat down with one local to me named Nellie Walter. And she turned to me and she goes, "Are you sensitive?" And I didn't even know what she meant. I thought she meant like emotionally sensitive. And
Oh, I see. I see.
I was like, I don't know. I cry a lot. Like that was my response. And she said, no, 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 you can see them. And I was like, no, no. She's like, yes, you do. When you think someone's there, you're not wrong. And I was like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that because that's like every day. And
Hmm.
I've been telling myself like I'm just crazy. I'm making this all up. Um, but that was 10 years ago.
Right.
And it took me till now and I still don't say I'm a medium because I don't love that part right
Well,
now. I'm
well,
still working on it,
how about
feeling
an older
comfortable.
term? How about an older term? We used to call people like you spirit talkers.
Spirit talker. Yeah. Yeah. I've also heard I'm a multi-channel. So I'm
Mm.
constantly scanning multiple channels, multiple dimensions, and no wonder I get tired and need naps. Uh,
It's a very busy universe and multiverse for sure.
yes. Yes. So learning how to work with these things, right? So again, for my daughter, this is why I got into this in the first place is,
Sure.
well, I mean, it wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. She's waking up having night terrors, screaming every night. And, so it was a necessity, but trying to just make her feel safe. So what we've learned, about holding boundaries, about clearing your own energy, about asking your guides for help. And that's the key, though. So sometimes we forget to ask.
Well, that's the one thing that's interesting about the culture here, especially within mainstream United States, because in many parts of the world, and even again in for the indigenous First Nation people, spirituality is just it's natural and it's woven. It's not this separate thing like this culture does. But she's very fortunate because there are times when there are parents who become very frightened of their children's abilities, and then they try to make them quote unquote normal. So I liken it to like the world of the X-Men,
Hmm.
where their children were born with abilities or mutants that would be in the world of the X-Men, and they try to make them normies. No, she was very fortunate that she had you, and that for you, very wise to seek a mentor. So I know that when I mentor people, that's one of the first things that I teach them based on the spirituality of Native American people. We call the Good Red Road because we don't have a name, we don't have a religion, it's a spiritual path. That this is another aspect of you, and it is as normal as setting boundaries for the living and being able to integrate it so that you can use it for everyday life. So it's not seen as this other thing, but again, very wise that you sought a mentor, and she's very fortunate. But then again, in the Native, you pick your parents. So
Yes, she has told me that multiple times. And she even recently, like yesterday, I think she was like, "Do you know why you're the best mom?" Which, oh my God, thank you. But, do you know why you're the best mom? Why? She said, "Because you let me do whatever I want to do." And now that might sound like, you know, I just let her do whatever she wants, which isn't true. But she is a manifester in human design, and I'm a projector.
I
And
see.
we both don't like being told what to do or forced into anything.
Sure.
And we like we work in our own time, and she initiates things. And boy, does she get what she wants. But what she wants is all good, for the most part. Sometimes it's candy, sometimes it's YouTube. But for the most part, it's like, can we get these kittens? Why would I ever say no? You know?
Mhm.
I would just regret that. I want kittens too.
Right, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
But then again, that embracing, which is what I find with the work that I do, because I help people to move through their shadows and to work with their shadows as one of the aspects that I do, is because not only in past life, but typically in the childhood of the current incarnation, people were not given permission to be their authentic selves or how
Hmm.
to move in balance with their authentic selves. So hence that need to put on personas or to be so entrenched in somebody else's definition of the roles they should play, they forget who they are.
Yeah. 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 And then what a waste of this very special opportunity that we have to be in this form at this time, to do what we're here to do and learn, to
Mhm,
just totally get derailed and not be your authentic self, and then not even know the difference or which way is up,
mhm.
especially as empaths. Uh, That too, especially as empaths, especially children. It's very difficult. I love kids. I love working with children.
I
For a
do
little
too.
while, I was a swim instructor, and I
Oh,
worked
nice.
in the morning time. So it was all mostly younger kids, not in school yet.
Mhm.
And they're just so fun. Their reactions are genuine, the things that they say, the way that they think, they just want to play. And it's so much more fun to think and act like a child with a child, like for example my daughter, instead of being like, you have to do this and you have to do that. I mean, we just kind of go with the flow, and then we work together, and it's things get done, so it works out well. Yeah.
It does, and I can say I enjoy it too. There's, I'm going to say a Montessorian type school that I go to teach, and I love it because I tell stories. I teach them the games that some of them were played on the reservation. They enjoy, but I just wanted to
Amazing.
also, yeah, it's so much fun. Some of the teachers love it, and then you get into the kids too. And the one thing I just wanted to go back with that you had said was that there are times that when you're not following your path, the universe can choose to derail you.
I know that happened to me.
Yep. And it can happen to all of us. But there are times that even from a soul lesson, because karma is a borrowed word for us, so we'd rather soul lesson, but or karma. When it's meant to happen with the idea that, and some people get very upset with themselves, this idea of this toxic idea of perfectionism, that you don't make a mistake and you don't go on side trips. And there's a saying that says the great spirit would have you help people from things that you have experienced.
Mhm.
So when you are moving through something, of course you want to move through it, but the journey and the quality of that journey as you're moving through a situation is just as important, if not even more so in that moment, than reaching the goal of getting to the other side. And typically, the wisdom that you get from that, so that you can become a better mom. You can become a better healer, or whatever it is that you want to help the community with.
Yes.
Is through these little, I'll politely call them side trips that
Yes.
life will have us go on.
Yes. I was getting very tired of saying, oh, I wish I could do that. Oh, maybe someday. Oh, I might like to do that, but I can't. I just have to do this. And it's like, no, 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 no. We're going to start doing what we want to do. And part of the reason I got the camper and the truck is
Mm,
because life is unsustainable at this point. I mean,
mm,
I think that's true for many people. I used to be in finance, so it's not that I'm ignorant regarding money. In fact, the opposite. But people sometimes give me a hard time when I'm like, money's not even real, though. Like, it's just not even real. And they're like, what do you mean? Of course it's real. I'm like, no, it's literally made up. Like, I know you need it. I know it's cool. We got to have it. Everything costs, but also it doesn't. So, like, let's get to that point. Like, I'm really ready to get past the point of like, oh, but we can't do this because money. Oh, we can't do this because that's how it works. And it's like, if you look at nature, much
mhm.
can be accomplished with not a single cent. So,
Yep.
uh,
And it's
yeah,
also a sense of community too, where especially now with the gross imbalances as far as with money. Again, you have a very small percentage of the population on Earth holding most of the money. Money is an artificial construct,
yeah.
right? It's meant to represent an energetic exchange.
Hmm.
But what I found, at least in my community, with everything going on, that, and it's interesting to note, not always, but usually it's the people who are struggling that are the most generous. So coming together as a
Uh-huh.
community, everybody can do a little something, and it makes a huge deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with that. And there were times in recent years through coercive control and legal manipulation, blah, blah, divorce stuff, um, that I didn't have any money for quite a long time, months, and was displaced. So, like, technically homeless, kept from money, blah, blah, kept from all my stuff. So it's like, oh, you need to wash your face. You didn't get face wash from the house. You're not allowed to go there. You have to buy it. But I also have no money. Like simple things that I already owned. I had to like buy, but I had no money. So it was frustrating. And there was a point around Christmas time where I only had about $15.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, I can't do anything for anyone, but I can get some dog and cat treats.
Hmm.
And and I feel connected personally to Hecate, Persephone, Demeter, especially in
Hmm.
my position that I was in. I was asking for their help, their
Yes.
guidance. And that's my way of giving an offering is, and also just generally in spirit. It's not even to any one specific goddess. It's, well, sometimes, but it's, just in general. That would bring me back more. I'm like, I know that might seem crazy. Like you have $15, that's all you have, and you just spend it all on dog and cat treats that they're going to eat and be gone. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because what else can I do? Like,
Hmm.
that brings me joy. So I'm happy to do that. And then,
Right.
a month or a little less than a month, a couple weeks later, I got some money coming in. And I'm like, see, it's fine. It didn't matter.
But look at that. And the Good Red Road things have to be both practical and spiritual at the same time, which is why ways are simple or they're not worth doing. What you had done in that particular case is that, again, I don't you didn't have a whole lot of money. You did what gave you joy, but that whole experience, as hard as it was, really gave you an appreciation for people who are trapped in that. And I don't like to use the word
100%.
trap, but society, or what
It,
have you. But
you
it
are
gives
trapped
greater,
sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
you are, and it gives a greater compassion. And I'm
Yeah.
sure with your gift of manifestation, for those who are ready, to teach them how to manifest in balance because you understand what it's like
Yes.
have to struggle. And that's what I
Absolutely.
mean for all of your listeners out there. I'm not saying that you have to like cheer having a good time or ask for another cosmic 2x4 from the universe. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But appreciate you have survived everything that you've lived through And once you take the wisdom from it, you can not only make the path better so that you can thrive, but again, we talked about with the life purpose. I'm sure for you now, it's like, oh no, I'm sure for you, I would say that no, that there be justice, that there should be, I'm going to say the basics of life for a lot of people to thrive, even more so because of the experience you had.
Absolutely. Uh, the thing I plan to do is travel, connect, learn, work, mostly live. But what I would like to focus on is natural building, cob structures. And,
Yes.
I'll have to travel around to different locations because different environments require different mixtures and ways of doing. And I would love to just learn all of them so that no matter where I am, I could build a structure for communities that I want to be involved with.
Yes.
I have a client in Canada and she has some land in Alberta. She wants to build a matriarchal society for
Cool.
women and their kids. And I told her I would love to be a part of that, but first I have to learn natural building so that I can, when I do come, I can build for you. And she's like, yes, we're going to do it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it's reminding me, actually, as I'm talking, I'm seeing the image in my mind. I went to a plant medicine retreat in Joshua Tree last
Mm-hmm.
November. And one of the oracle cards that I pulled from Janine Burgess's Wings of Transformation deck
Yes.
was the blue mud dauber. And they make houses out of mud. And
Yes.
the card was describing how they are so resourceful and they can take other nests and change them to suit their needs. They can thrive in
Yes.
different environments, and they also protect the ecosystem by taking out threats
Mm-hmm.
and being very protective of the environment and taking out threats. And I was like, yes, that's me. I'm the blue mud dauber. So I keep seeing that blue mud dauber. And I think that that was really like the initiation of you're going to start doing these things. You're going to start getting information rolling in that's going to click in later. And like just now I'm realizing the natural building, the traveling, it's all coming from that. So I'm ready. I've been saying, but I'm ready for it, universe. I'm here. Give me what I'm
Yeah,
ready for. I will try my best. Yeah.
absolutely. But once again, look at what you value. Again, you learn to really appreciate what you value, the sense of home, the sense of community, sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And if you were just to even sit with yourself 5 or so years ago, that would have been a completely different expression than what you have today.
I would have never. If you were like, oh, you're gonna buy a camper and a truck and have to drive that full time and move around and live in different places and you don't know what you're gonna do for work, but you'll figure it out. I'd be like terrified. Now I'm excited because I feel much more confident. Been through a little bit in the past 5 years. So I've bolstered my confidence quite a bit,
Exactly, exactly. And that's
especially
so good.
working with you.
Oh,
That has
thank you.
bolstered my confidence as well, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank
Your
you. And
support.
with that, and this is part of that learning of the teaching of heart, head, and hands of again the knowing with the heart, the chief to set greater knowing, connecting to all that is, again, whether it be great spirit, the goddesses, whichever way you see greater than yourself. And this is the one that always can keep you on track. If something resonates, then it's meant to be yours. If somebody goes, then maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But then what this culture does is the head, which is the mind, they keep on thinking the mind should be in charge. But what does the mind do? The mind is always looking for problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to run on fear. So in this culture, that's why it's so loud that they can't hear their hearts. But if
Yes.
the chief just guides, or the chief, depending how you do, and then the head is meant to be like the council. So the chief just says, this is what I want to do, or the chief, and the council goes, oh, well, this is how we can make it happen. And maybe some troubleshooting, not fear mongering.
Yes.
Then the hands represent doing or not doing, depending on what's appropriate. But I also want to round up the teaching because a lot of people think it's linear or it's hierarchical, which is again very Western. Not the tribe, which in this case is your body has a wisdom of its own. How many
Absolutely.
times have you felt something is right or not right, and your body picks it up before your mind catches up to it?
Mm-hmm.
So always listen, have that body wisdom, honor and love your body and your environment, as well. So I hope you don't mind my sharing that teaching of, again, of heart, head, and hands. Again, it's one of the Eagles teachings.
Absolutely. And that leads me into your workshop that you're going to be co-hosting, facilitating, coming up. You're reminding me of the head and the hands and the doing. So that what I wanted to lead into that. Can you tell us a little bit about your workshop that you're going to be doing?
Yes, it's going to be a women's retreat. It's going to be in November in Leesburg, Virginia. So it's a beautiful destination. It's a one-day women's retreat, and it's celebrating your inner goddess.
That
And
sounds amazing.
it's going to be at Hotel Berg. There's a beautiful country club there called the Chase Club. And there's going to be 4 of us. So teaching you how to celebrate your inner goddess. So for me, I'm going to be teaching you how to work with your shadows to become whole so that you break free of your past. We have another one, Trisha. She's like you. She is insanely good at manifesting and teaching people, the women there, how to properly manifest. So you're manifesting what's good for you in the future versus the past. You're reliving the past. Then we have Deb, who's going to be teaching about women's wellness. And she's very just the magic of being a woman in wellness. And then finally, Gina, who will be touching about sharpening women's intuition.
That sounds like a totally encompassing circle of support.
It is. And I just can't wait for all of us wild women to get together.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. Wild women. You're reminding me. Right now we're staying at a Harvest Host home. So the Harvest Host is like an app for people with RVs. You can travel around and camp at farms, golf clubs, attractions like museums or private residences. So this is a farm. She's got all these horses, and we got 2 kittens from her yesterday. So this morning we detached the truck. We took a ride into town and we went to the shop because her truck broke down, so she couldn't drive. So that's what we were doing. As we were driving, we were sharing about our lives, and she shared that she had a child with someone who was married, and they were trying to con her. So this guy lied, said his wife died, but the wife knew that he was with the woman that I know, and they were trying to steal from her because she had car dealerships. And they successfully like stole cars. But not only that, they also then came back because she was suing and trying to press charges. Then they did a custody thing. They ended up through the legal system. However, you know how wonky that is. She wasn't with her daughter for 13 years. They took her daughter, and she was 3 years old, I guess at the time, or 2. And they kind of like just told her like, oh, this is your mom, but that's not her mom, And it just, when she was 17 years old, she was organizing a closet. She found all of the paperwork and discovered that, the person that she thought was her mom is not her mom, and that she did have a mom that wanted her. She wasn't dead, like all this stuff. So they connected, and they were talking for about a year. So we're in the truck together driving, and I started to think in my mind about what that would be like for her daughter to be in this life and then realize a huge part of your life was kept from you, but not say anything, not react, and not let the people know that you know. And I said, wow, she's smart. That is very intelligent to like not reveal that she knows the secrets because, personally, and I've gotten myself literally in trouble in the past, reacting emotionally. Because I'm a sensitive lady. Remember, I said, I don't know, I cry a lot. Well, what about when I yell and cry at the same time? It's pretty scary. That's emotions, right? So it's interesting. But she was saying that eventually they found out that she was in contact with her daughter, and her dad tried to have the daughter committed and said that she was crazy. And I said, isn't that just what all men say? It's just like the oldest trick in the book. They just say,
Toxic
oh,
ones.
crazy. Yeah. Not all men. There's very, very good men, but the toxic men, I feel like almost at this point, people should question more when someone comes in and just says, "Oh, this lady's crazy." You know what I mean? Like they should be
Sure.
like, "Oh, we don't believe you." But
Yeah,
oh
no.
well.
But again, with that, just with that, even with that young person, how old is that young one now? You
Now
said,
she's 20. Well, hold on now. I think she's 20 now.
yeah.
19 or
So,
20. Yeah.
so with that, there's still going to be that need to reconcile
Mm-hmm.
that dissonance in some way. And that's why, again,
Absolutely.
following, again, whether it be spirituality or some people that go to me, well, Skyfire, I'm not very spiritual, then even if it's like, again, like clinical hypnotherapy or doing, looking, sometimes there's like past life issues too that can come up.
Yes.
But that's what I was
Yes.
thinking that in that particular case where that with that young person, still, I'm sure, still trying to reconcile what happened
Absolutely.
and the need to
Absolutely.
do that. So the ability to be able to, who knows, maybe they would like to come to the women's retreat,
Yeah. I'll
some
definitely
other
let them
daughter team.
know. Yeah. I'll let them know. Let me write that down. Okay. I love this woman and her boyfriend and their horses. It's so wonderful here. Everyone is so kind, and I love making connections. She resonated because Grace was describing that she wasn't with me for a couple of years, and I was saying that my ex said I was crazy, and she's like, "Oh, you want to hear something crazy?" And then she told me that story, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't even believe that!" Like I believe it was 13 years. 13 years without your daughter. I would damn near killed me, and it was not even 3. So I can't even imagine.
Well,
Yeah.
but again, that everyone has their journey,
Yeah.
everyone has their journey. So I know they're still working through it, but it sounds that for the most part, it's a happier ending because the mother and the daughter were able to reunite.
Yes. And get away from the con artist dad, right? And here's some good news. She told me that I know that her daughter is fairly young. She's an RN, and she started working somewhere. Or wait, she's not an RN yet. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she's a CNA and she started working somewhere, and she's
Mhm.
only been there for 3 weeks, and they called her into the office and she was nervous, like, uh-oh, I did something wrong. No, no. They were so impressed they offered to pay for her to go to college to get her RN and then give her a $65,000 sign-on bonus to work after that.
There
And I
you
was
go.
like, yes. So speaking on manifestation, sometimes it's your environment. Sometimes it's the people you're around that are lowering your frequency, that are siphoning your energy. But we don't want to talk about,
But also too, that was not her destiny. So at that point, her destiny was restored to her.
yes, yes. Oh, I just got chills all down my legs.
So
Yes,
at that point, we see the Great Spirit granted her back her life because that was not
yes,
her destiny, but was done to her before.
yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. On my left side is all chills now. I love it. I love to see that. Uh, and it's so interesting. I think I mentioned in the recording,
Mhm.
in my little outro, one of the recordings that I shared of yours, I was saying how I find it so fascinating your ability to handle so many streams of communication from spirit at the same time while talking to me, right? And I find it fascinating. Uh, how do you, is there anything that you do to, how do I word it? Manage time? Because time, like what even is time when you're connected with spirit and all of these different levels and different people talking to you in all the same space? But
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I can share with you a little bit of what it's like when I'm doing a session. And again, in the native tradition, so literally, I was taught by my uncle Silverhand, again, Iroquois, a Tuscarora. So this is literally living tradition when I'm with someone. So, and I just want to say for your listeners, First Nation people do not believe in fortune telling. What we believe in is the creator spirit gives you soul lessons to learn, but you are given the gift of free will on how you wish to experience them, which is usually where the fun begins. So after I do the blessing, I connect very specifically to your guardian spirit. And again, towards the sacred self of the individual, as well as the ones that walk with me. And typically what I will ask, so might be able to share 25% to maybe 30% of everything I see and hear.
Oh,
Everything
wow.
else, I have to be quiet.
Yes.
Well, and let me put it to you this way. So let me share with you what it's like. All of us have had the experience where it could even be good news, but you have to wait for the right time, or else it can just set things off in a completely different trajectory. So literally, I will ask, I will say, where's this person? I'm going to say, in the best possible meant to be, where are they? And then what am I allowed to do or say to help to guide them? And I literally see things as timelines, what they call the dream. But I literally see the different timelines. And the timeline that is the most solid is the one that's coming into manifestation. But then I will ask, what can I say? What can I share within their current framework that can guide them from this point A to more in alignment, point B, without saying too much that can throw everything into the wrong timeline.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a delicate dance. And then as you found out yourself, where there's a part of you that, as you said, can intellectually understand, but then it took years for you to really get everything that I was alluding to.
Yes, years. And it probably didn't even get it all yet. It's probably going to be a couple more. Who knows? But there are threads, like you said, you're raven people. Ravens like to move. Ravens, and I'm like, what? What is she talking about? And then I'm like, yes, now I understand who my raven people are, who they have been, who I am connecting with. And yes, working in that sense. I just appreciate it so much. The growth and opportunities, and
Yeah.
would have never
And
imagined.
yeah, and it's wonderful because usually when I do the sessions, the readings, again, like yourself, I can look into the past lives because we have a divine right of, we're our own cosmic wiki, as I like to say, looking into our past lives. But
Yes.
also too, talking to maybe those who've crossed over, animal communications. So it's really wonderful to be able to assist people on their path.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. One thing that was coming through, like you said earlier, the universal gets you off the path and break your life around down around you to get you to the path, or it could have always been planned that way.
Mhm.
I believe the initiation,
Mhm.
my spiritual initiation that happened in 2021 with that alternate timeline jumping is
Right.
the best way I can describe it.
Right.
Um, I do think that was planned. I think I agreed to that, but it was also not done the way I agreed to. But
Right.
somewhere along the lines, I was like, sure, let's do it.
Right. But I'll
Because
mention this as a point of, again, to add to that, that just because, and I want to be very crystal clear, it's not to say that anyone deserves to be the victim of a crime or abuse. No, absolutely not. From I'm going to say a soul lesson standpoint, that person, like say that story that you just told me, where the poor young woman was taken as a child and never told, in that moment, the people who did that had the choice to act compassionately and not follow that timeline. They
Mhm.
had the complete opportunity, but they chose not.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, they were not able to rob what was meant to be. The mother and daughter being
Absolutely.
together, they were not able to rob her future. And we'll see what the karmic balance is for them. That is between them and the creator.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to follow after. But that's why I want to be very clear that when you have these, some of these interactions, which can be toxic, that the onus is that we all have that choice. We are all given the same, I don't care what walk of life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We choose how to interact with each other. We choose the energy that we share with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say, even with the soul lessons, where in that moment, there could have been the choice of compassion to allow for her to have been with her mother, even in part, but they chose not.
Mm. It's interesting that you're saying that, totally unrelated, but on the drive down here where I am now, I went through Georgia, And I've never driven when I was in Georgia. I've taken a train there and Ubers and different things, planes, right, into the Atlanta airport, but never driven through it. I didn't realize that they're very, very strict about their speeding. Except
Oh,
for I saw
yes.
many people pulled over on the side of the road. So
Oh,
then I was like,
yes.
wow, they're really really
And that's like,
sticklers about it.
yeah, parts of Kentucky are too, so watch out.
Okay. Okay. Well, I was driving and I'm going 65 because that's normal, right? In PA. And I'm going and then I look over, I see it says 40. And I knew. And I was like, I'm gonna keep going. So like you're saying, you had that moment where there's that choice, right? So
Mhm.
I know that I made the choice to keep speeding, right? And guess what the repercussion was? I got pulled over. I didn't get a ticket, but I got pulled over.
Mhm.
And when I got pulled over, I was like, see, that was spirit telling me there's a cop around here. You got to slow down because I was like, oh, what's the speed limit? And I saw that I was speeding.
Mhm.
I made the choice to continue doing that. I really could have said, oh, I better slow down, but I didn't listen. And then look what I got. So, well, really nothing, but next time might not be the case, you know? So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
But that's again that whole idea of, and it's true, all of us are born with the ability to connect with our spirit guides and with our sacred self. But the society teaches you, the mainstream society, that somehow if you're not, you know, lost in your head, that somehow you're crazy.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
very much like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party on meth. That's not a good thing.
Definitely not a
So,
good thing.
but the power of the pause, like you said, there's that moment that we're all given. That's where the power really lies. When
Yes.
something happens and that moment of that in between moment between then and when you choose to respond or to react really helps define everything.
Yes.
Now, don't get me
Yes.
wrong. Have I had moments that I've been emotional and went told for somebody to go, jump off a coffee table? Sure.
They shouldn't get hurt from that height, right? A coffee
Yep.
table.
You're right. But
They'll be fine.
I acknowledge,
Yes.
okay, emotions are not bad. Emotions have a reason for being. But to health in a healthy way to help to move through those emotions. Emotions are like water. You experience them, but they're meant to be moving.
Yes.
And then from there, sit down and go, what do I want at the other end of this? What do I want for myself? And say if you have a child, for me and my child, what do I want? So in that moment in between, saying, okay, I might be angry and justly so and set boundaries, but what do I want at the end? And what happens is that some people can get caught in the emotions and get stuck in this loop, or they get so stuck in the what ifs that they don't see the way out. So being able to quiet your mind, being able to connect with nature is wonderful. And then
Yes.
with your sacred self, that knowing that comes by whichever name you give it is so vital. And for me, it's such a joy when I'm able to mentor people to be able to connect that way.
Yes. Yes. And when you identify those moments, they really are visceral. When you get that message, you feel it in your body. Like you were saying earlier, you can trust your body. Your body knows. I have been not just conceptualizing that, like
Mhm.
feeling it, living it lately.
Yes.
And it's only been a couple of months, but more than ever, I do muscle testing for
Mhm.
everything, like different kinds of coconut water, even at the store. Is this one good or is this one good? Like, I just,
Yeah.
your body knows. And speaking along those lines, you have recently started hypnotherapy, and I find the connection between the subconscious and the bodily reactions,
Mhm.
right? Like I was saying earlier, I was a swim instructor for a little while for kids, and there was this one girl who always was happy to be there. She smiled and she liked to swim, but whenever she would jump in, she'd go like this. And I'm
Sure.
like, I think that's past life, like because she seems happy. She's not like scared, but like there's always that. Like wince, and I'm like, it's in her body. That memory is in her body. And so
Yes.
I didn't do anything because she was a little girl and I couldn't talk to her about it. So I didn't do anything because you have to have permission. But you know, yeah, it's just interesting. I can see it very clearly in kids sometimes where I'm like, oh, they must have a little past life something. And our my Uber driver down from
Mhm.
the train station to the car dealership, I started talking about the work that I do in the Akashic Records, and she asked me to give her a reading. And what I told her, 'cause she was telling me about her work situation. Had a back surgery and she was on medical leave. And she's like, I should be going back to work soon, but I don't really want to. Like, what do you think? And I was like, hmm. So then I looked into it. It was more complex than that, but you know what she
Right.
said. But I don't want to take forever. So I looked into it and I was like, absolutely not. Don't go back there. You're too empathic and it's like a toxic environment, and you should be a consultant, or you know, have your own
Mhm.
freelancing stuff. Like you have enough experience and connections that you can absolutely do that yourself. You don't need to work there. And she's like, thank you. I've been thinking about that, consulting and doing my own thing. And I was like,
Mhm.
yep, that's like I was like, I had to start talking and saying you need to be a consultant instead of
Yep.
working for that company. I had to say it because my heart was so heavy. Like it got heavy and I was like, oh, don't go back there. And then she was telling me about how she's so afraid of bugs. She's like, I'm terrified of bugs because she's
Mhm.
from Pittsburgh. We were talking about
Okay.
and
Yes.
being from Pennsylvania, right? And she said,
Right.
I moved down to Atlanta after a divorce and I just wanted to like have my peace. And she's like, people make fun of me though because I'm terrified of bugs. And they're like, why'd you move to Atlanta if you're afraid of bugs, right? Uh, and I said, oh, I think that's a past life thing. Um, and so I did a little bit of holographic matrix work for her. There's nothing to say about it. It's all energetic, right? But then when we get the first night we get into our camper, there's a beautiful moth in the house. And she was telling me how she saw something on the counter and she killed it, and it was just a moth. And she was like, oh, and felt bad, but she
Mhm.
doesn't like when things are moving. So it was a moth, beautiful. And I was like, oh, and I was like, this is the opportunity. So I picked it up and I said, your name is Hazel, because her name was Hazel. And I said, Hazel, this is for you. This is what we do for the bugs when they're in our house. We're not afraid of them. We observe them, we see how cool they are, and then we put them outside and there's no problem. And I was like, this is for you, Hazel. You know, but it was funny. I love it. That's like my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing is to make connections with people and then, you know, do little magic things that no one will ever know about, except for now we talked about it. So if you're listening to this, you know about it, but
Absolutely.
maybe Hazel's listening to this. I hope so.
Yep. But that's one
Yeah.
thing that I could say that's in common that when you mentioned, so again, I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist last year. But what I find is that it dovetails, there's a lot of shamanic overlay, but spirituality, shamanism, the clinical hypnotherapy, what they do is that they help for you to reach the inner landscape
Mhm.
and see what's in that inner landscape. And through there, to be able to bring enough calmness to connect with the greater consciousness, universal consciousness, and the sacred self. So being able to go in there allows for there to be the greater change. So that even say, that maybe someday Hazel will choose to allow a moth to dance in her fingertips, maybe someday, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I've asked her, I said, how do you feel about exposure therapy? She's like, I went to a butterfly, there's a word
Garden.
for it.
Right.
Something where they have
Right.
all the
Usually it's
butterflies.
right. And usually it's like a butterfly garden type
Yes.
environment.
And she was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I thought I would try. I couldn't do it. I was like, well, they are pretty terrifying up close. They look much prettier, like from afar. So maybe start slow. Like I said, just go outside and look at a bug and talk to it telepathically and like just get to know them a little bit. You don't have to be afraid, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was funny. But oh,
But yeah,
I love
but
it. I love that so
all of these
much.
methods can help to release again the fear. That's the whole idea. Where the one it's and I believe that you need both because one is again, yes, you listen to your body, how did it get in locked into the body? Again, allowing for spirit to help to guide you, to lift you, but then also being able to use the power of your own mind and realize that however that got in there or was programmed in there, you have the ability at any time to be able to change that and
Yes.
live a much happier life.
Yes. It's incredible. It's magical, right?
It is. I feel that it
Real
is for sure.
everyday magic. And I love that you described before supernatural is super natural. It's
It is.
so natural that it's supernatural. Yeah.
It
I
is.
love how you broke down that word in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is one of the things that I really feel that in our culture we need to get more in contact with. Because again, you go to other parts of the world, India, Asia, what have you, and this is integrated into mainstream culture.
Yes.
Indigenous people around the world still, this has never stopped. But it's only here when you separate. That's just it. This culture has beheaded its people because they separate and have them in their heads and disconnect them from their hearts.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
what's so wonderful with the type of work that you do and that I also enjoy doing is helping to connect everything so that everything is in proper alignment. Uh, this is a beautiful, I'm going to say, not everything that happens to us is beautiful. But in the native way, walking in beauty is to be walking with as much peace, balance, and it's okay to ask for help too. There's the three native blessings: health, happiness, and help that we
Yes.
get, that we can ask and to give to each other. And life doesn't have to be that complicated, folks. It really doesn't.
Yes, absolutely. I was driving along on the highway and was reminded about the 250th anniversary of America, and I
Mhm.
laughed. I said, 250 years? And we act like we know everything and we're in charge. We own it all. We have all the medical advancements, and it's like we don't know anything about anything, essentially. I mean, it's good. It's a big deal. I'm not discrediting America. I'm not saying that 250 years of establishment is not important. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying comparatively, for us to think that we know as much as we think we know is extremely ignorant. Yes.
It is, but I might tell you a story from
Yes.
my history. So I was going to say, when I was very young and also young apprentice, the talk of these times, you call these times the time of changes, where there has to be the ending of the old that something new can begin. And we're in the middle of them now, especially this year of, again, revolution and revelations. And I remember being with one of my Ojibwe teachers, and we were talking about this and making sure that you had like 2 years worth of food ready and preparing and all this. And again, and I remember asking my teacher respectfully, said, "Teacher, you know, Native people and people, we move around, so what happens if we're not anywhere near our supplies or things that we need in case if everything happens?" And he laughed and he said, "Well, I hope you can defend yourself." And that never sat right with me. So fast forward a good 10 years or so later, and I was up at the Council of the 13 Grandmothers. So again, up with Six Nation territory. And this talk came again. And that question, from me being so young, never sat in my soul properly. So I remember going to the grandmothers, sharing them the story that I just shared with you, with this Ojibwe teacher. And the grandmothers, they looked at each other and they laughed and they smiled. And I'm here like, okay, did I say something? And they said, "Child, don't you know the answer has never changed?" I'm like, "No." And they smiled, such warmth. And they said, "Child, cooperation. Cooperation is the key. Cooperation is what allowed for the people to survive everything. And there will come a time that cooperation and community will be important again. So take with you those things that money cannot buy. Learn skills, share them, teach them. Share what you have with those that are willing to share and understand in a good way. And this, we shall grow beyond this time of chaos to a time of a brighter future."
Yes.
And I will never have forgotten that.
Yes, that's a much better answer than I hope you can defend yourself. That's the very small-minded aspect compared to there is no lack. We should have no fear of threat. We're going to come together. Everything is possible as long as we come together and work together and do the best that we can in the ways that we can. And if we can't, someone else can. Yeah. Yeah.
And if we all give a little, then we all have a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one thing that really blows my mind, the lack. I was talking with someone who I went to high school with. She reached out to me recently and she's been having some hard times, and she lives in North Carolina, and I guess with the floods or something, some weather issue, maybe a year or two ago, there were floods,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it affected their water. She couldn't drink the public water, still can't, and she has illnesses and lack of insurance, lack of money, lack of support, all of this stuff. And I'm just like, why are we doing it this way still? Like everyone should have clean water. And it sounds so simple, but
Mhm.
I mean, humans are the ones getting in the way, I feel like. If we let nature just go, even for 20 years, like if you look at Chernobyl, right? It's only, 30 some, I don't know how many years later, but 20, less than 20 years later, it was completely overgrown and overrun with wild animals, and nature came back, right? So,
Well, I'll even give you more current history. As horrific as it was, 2020, and in that short period of time, here in the United States, where it was remarkable, where LA had no smog, it was blue skies.
yep.
Everything was healing. The earth was healing. The animals were again coming out
Hmm.
in that way. So again, how can I say? It's important for us to connect with nature.
Absolutely.
And again, when we all give a little, we all have a lot. And I want to share, I hope you don't mind one more teaching or
Yeah,
thought,
absolutely.
but there's something known as the Wolf Creed. And I had gotten this from some of my Iroquois teachers. And it is my greater good for the greater good of all. So let me explain that. In this culture, they want you very much that it's for the greater good of all, and especially, and I hate to say it, for women, very repressed for women and for those who are marginalized. And somehow that if you want self-care, you're selfish. No. So in wolf society, a good alpha will say that there are some that are good trackers, some are good nannies, some are good hunters. And a good alpha will allow for that wolf to be able to become the best. They are temporary leaders until whatever's done is done. So when you say my greater good, think about it when you're in an airplane. If anyone who's traveled, who gets the oxygen mask first? Well, you do, because then the first responders get 2 living people versus 2 dead people. So when you're doing things for your greater good, it's not selfish. You're doing it with the idea of sharing it with community for the future generations. But then there has to be reciprocity. My greater good for the greater good of all. So again, where that alpha allows, you're the alpha of your own life. So where you allow for people to be their authentic selves and grow so that there is community and unity, then
Yes.
also that community unity supports you so you can also grow.
Yes.
It's always in balance.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the science track of an alpha wolf, the misunderstanding of what an alpha wolf is. And I think I talked about this uh, one of the one of the first episodes with a friend from high school, Bobby Eppelman. But the difference between what they understood an alpha to be, and what we have internalized and mentalized that to look like. But it's actually, if you observe in nature, what, like you just described, a good leader will allow others to rise, to lead, to be better for everyone.
Right.
Absolutely.
And for whatever that task is,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to share with all of you, because there's so many times, and I think especially for women, we try to be everyone for everything at all times. And that is just unrealistic. It's a way of becoming burned out.
Hmm.
But when you say my greater good, go ahead. What being self-care is not selfish. What do you need? What do you want to grow? How do you express your joy so that all may benefit? But also too, you're the alpha of your own life, choosing those who would reciprocate. People who have, I'm going to say, love you enough to help you. I'm going to say, not let you pull you down off the ceiling when you're too high, or if you're hard on yourself, lift you out of the mud.
Yeah.
So there's so much, we have so much power that we
Yes.
don't understand.
I look forward to learning more about the power that we have and understanding more and integrating it into a very fulfilling, whole, loving environment for all of us. I look forward
Yes,
to it. I believe it. I know it's coming.
I do
I
too.
just know it. Yes.
Absolutely. Cooperation is key.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Eagle Skyfire, for being with us today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing for me to be here.
Yes, thank you. And you're welcome anytime. And again, I will add links in the show notes for how to reach out to Skyfire for sessions and for your retreat coming up in November. And again, thank you so much for yourself, all of the work that you do, your guidance, your leadership. I so appreciate you. And I loved having this conversation today.
I did as well. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Wanishi, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our conversation and sharing in our experience. I really appreciate Eagle Skyfire. If you have not noticed yet, she is an incredible resource and healer to work with. Please check out her links in the show notes to her website so you can stay in touch and see what she has to offer. If you ever are in need, she's also expanding her clinical hypnotherapy to be a level 2 medical assistant. So I am just fascinated by that and so excited to see her journey with clinical hypnotherapy. As always, enjoy this track by Jeremy Silva, aka Stilo Free, Lights and Shadows. Next week's episode will be with Jeremy Silva, so I look forward to you being able to listen to that, and I look forward to sharing it with you. Until next week, take care and be well.
Pressure made diamonds, lay back, smoking loud in the silence. It's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds, lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping, give me no love? Nowadays you don't gotta mind me. In the end I hope you really find peace. I had to set my mind free. I had to let my soul breathe. Moon sign Pisces, heart broke psyche. Angels all around me, but demons wanna fight me. Feel like I had to fight myself. No, I had to look inside myself. With a predisposition to addiction. Through the negatives, I'm still focused on the vision. It's sorta like that first scene you see in Pulp Fiction. I see the end, but it's really only the beginning. I had to find a way to be grateful for them locked doors that you made close. When doves cry, it's so painful, but the purple rain is so graceful. Cause pressure made diamonds, lay back, smoking loud in the silence. It's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds, lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping, give me no love? I'm fighting battles, lost between the lights and the shadows. Trying to shoot me down, I'm dodging all the ammo. Left me hanging, I escaped from the gallows. Swim through the ether, blowing on a reefer. Running like Rev when he rapped about Adidas. It's like my flow is heaven sent. My energy could shift the cards in your tarot deck. Life ain't always what it seemed. An alternate reality, I'm living in a dream. I got the Stussy on the T with the 501 jeans. Ray-Ban Lokes with the Air Max 3s. Mandela effect, got me living my best. I gotta jump timelines when I'm living in stress. And a spliff in my chest, it got me lifting and blessed. Peace, you know the rest. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made